never forget my mission. I'll protect Darilica till my dying breath.
Hello and welcome to another Awaken Chaos Era video. In this video I'm going to be going over some of the new characters that have been added in, as well as a brand new event surrounding the character on the screen. I'll try and pronounce their name a little bit later. But after a quick look, it does look like very similar structuring to the Geironul event that we did have in the game, which seemed to be one of the best received events from the community. And it is really nice to see it again from me personally. I like that one a lot. Let's get into the info. So just like the Geironul event, this new character is going to be part of a separate summons, which is going to last for, I believe, just under 14 days. And this is going to be separate from your main advanced summons. Basically, this means that you are going to be able to get a certain amount of pulls on this if you have saved up pulls. But if you're into pity on this new banner that has arrived, and then the event ends, the pity does not get transferred to the normal summons, you will lose that pity. So do make sure you pull everything you want to. So for instance, like the time you get a legendary potentially is the time to stop, whether that be the first, second, third, or for some people no doubt like seventh and so on. Now the way it worked for Geironul was the first legendary gave you a 50% chance, which is awesome for the new character. And what is even better is if you didn't get the character on that summon, the next character would be guaranteed, the next legendary drop would be guaranteed to be the advertised character. And then I do believe every single other legendary afterwards would be the brand new character too. So if you were of the whaling mentality, it would be a maximum of 800 advanced summons to get a fully ascended version, which I don't think you can really guarantee in any other part of the game. However, of course, if you've got some of the legendary ascension potions, you could just get like 2 or 3 or however many you wanted to get, and just leave it at that. Now we're going to look at the character in just a second, but it doesn't show that her skill ascension, I believe, is going to be A5, I would assume, as that's generally how it is for a lot of these characters. Now the new legendary character for the event is part of the Holy Light Empire, and I'm going to try and pronounce her name, Geironul? I'm not going to get it right ever, I don't think. And we'll just check her out. She does seem to be a bit all balanced. She's got, you know, some attack crit rate, so that's going to be good for offense, of course. But she's got some health, so sustainability and just survivability is nice. Now we'll look at the passive first. It is called Coiled Spring. It grants 1 rage at the end of the turn, plus either 0, 50 or 100% chance of a bonus turn based on the amount of this character's rage. Return rage to 0 after triggered, and the cooldown is 1 round. So it actually has a pretty good cooldown here, so she should be getting bonus turns quite often. Now with the Ascension effects, again, I believe this is going to be A5. I don't think there's a way to actually see it, unfortunately. It doesn't show, but it is going to be giving a boost of death immunity. I think that's the only change that I can really see, and this would mean, obviously, she can't get taken out. Now her first skill is Charge of the Dawn. Deals 120% damage to an enemy, with a 100% chance to apply no positive effects for 2 turns. So this is actually pretty decent, and basically you could turn off the ability to do her other effects, her other attacks on like auto playthroughs, and just make it so she just constantly spams this if you come up against a particular boss or a particular, you know, stage where you do not want any positive effects to ever, you know, proc on the actual enemy. This isn't too bad at all. Next up we have Wheel of Fire. It has a 2-turn cooldown, deals 120% damage to all enemies, and prolongs this character's duration of their positive effects by 1 turn. This is pretty decent as well, but it is very like looking after herself. She's not doing much for other characters, and it is not huge amounts of damage compared to other characters, you know, single target damage. But if there are, let's say, stages where they've got minions, this is obviously going to deal it to everybody. So if you are targeting a minion, it will do little bits of damage to the boss and a little bit of damage to the other minions. Now her ultimate ability is called Dawn of Fire. It deals 120% damage to all enemies while ignoring up to 90% of the enemy defense based on the difference between this character and the target's initial attack. I think that's fairly similar to like Urzag, the Urzag changes. I'm not 100% certain there. This ability grants death immunity for 1 turn upon defeating an enemy. So a lot of this kit basically seems like she's more of an offensive arena-based character, where you would potentially have only like 6 turns until you start getting, you know, hit with the lightning, basically. She's going to be having more than 6 turns because of how her kit works, the rage and stuff like that. She could potentially have like 8 to 10 turns in that time. She's hitting all AoEs, Her ultimate actually has pretty decent cooldown, so she'll be able to hit that ultimate multiple times. And I believe that this obviously is going to stack with like defense down and stuff like that. All this stacks, so I think she's more of an arena-based character as much as she potentially could work on some of these boss stages. I think she seems to be more of an offense-based arena character. Now, I did recently pull for Florence, so I'm going to be waiting on my pulls, but I like this character. My arena attack teams need some work, so this character could be quite fun. But we'll see. Maybe near the end of the event. It does last for 2 weeks on the banner, so if I have enough, I'll basically play it as it goes. Now, there are 2 other characters that have been added, and I do plan to make a separate video just looking at those, just to not make this video too chunky. And if I've made that video already, it should be popping up in the top right-hand corner right now, but if I haven't, you're going to have to be a little bit patient. Now, on to the event itself. It's called Dawn is Coming. You can see it on the main dungeon screen. If you just go into your dungeons, it should be on this left-hand side pretty much the entire event. And you click on it, and it might take you through a story. It might give you the introduction. But if you did play the event for Geironul, it's pretty much identical from what I can see, where you can only play certain amounts of missions. As you can see, you can get like to the second main stage, and you're going to have to wait, 24 hours. And then the 2 should unlock probably then, and then 2 should unlock, and then so on and so forth. When this originally came out for Geironul, I thought it was really good, mainly because of the farming, which I'll talk about in a second. But I managed to complete the majority of it, and I was quite a new player. So this is quite new player friendly, and veterans love it because of what we're going to look at next. It's going to be the drops. As you see at the bottom left hand corner, it says Dawn is Coming. The event time is as shown, but then it says redemption period is just a slightly extended. But there's this like little icon next to it that says 6 days and 20 hours, and that's a countdown. And still something extra drops on some of these stages, and it says bonus stages will drop extra loot 7 days into the event. So a lot of people might think it's decent to start farming it early. It's actually better to wait for the first 7 days, complete what you can, do some of the quests, which we'll look at in a second, but farm heavy once this comes in. The 4 types of farm that you can get are gold, as you can see in the top left hand corner of this little image. In the top right hand corner, you can see the gems for actually upgrading people's abilities. Bottom left hand corner is jelly for leveling up characters, and bottom right hand corner would be the charms for upgrading your gear. Depending on where you are in the game, obviously certain things are going to be much harder for you to actually, get a hold of at high tier. So for instance, the ones for abilities, generally veterans aren't going to need as much of, because they can just farm that as they want. But newer players, this could actually be pretty decent to get some of your characters maxed out if you're struggling to farm some of the higher stages. Now, the charms are great for everybody. The jelly's pretty decent as well, and the coins are good for everybody. But I think charms, you can't go wrong. When this came around for Geironul, I farmed like thousands because I knew the charms were one of the hardest things to get in the game. I still have quite a lot of charms left, but this is going to help. The issue I have right now is gold, so I'm going to have to probably farm a lot of gold and probably a little bit of jelly as well. I really like this event because it gives you the choice. Each day after the 7 days, it'll basically rotate between one of these 4. Now, I do believe when the charms one comes up, initially it gives you the ability to focus particular things. So you could do like breastplate charms, and then it can also drop just the charms that can upgrade anything. And then the second time it comes around, I think it does go to ring and necklace charms. So if you don't like breastplate charms and you don't like, boots and stuff like that, you can wait for the necklace and the ring charms to come around the second time. It is worth noting that if you do farm the jelly actually does drop pumpkins. And I think when I did that, I farmed like 200, 300, 400 of the 3-star pumpkins just from doing that. So if you're newer to the game again, that is very useful. Not so much for a veteran because it is low-end pumpkins, but otherwise it's pretty good still. Now, I played through the first stage and we'll just go into it. And this is one of the only real big changes that I can see from the Geironul event. Is you can see the last stage is the challenge stage. It doesn't cost any energy to run it, but you can run it up to 10 times and the difficulty just gets higher and higher and higher each time. And you get the rewards that you are shown here every single time. So you get 2 of the fire gems, and then you get the charm on the right hand side. So you get quite a lot of those rewards. And that progresses you through the challenge sort of milestone missions. And for each, 10 of those stars you get progression on rewards. And there are actually some pretty nice rewards in here too. Again, just giving you like a trickle of stuff that you're going to use all the time anyway as a bonus. This is mainly going to be aimed at more top tier players, so something to actually do. The top level challenge I think only goes to like level 60 or maybe 62. I couldn't really remember exact level. And you might not be able to, I'm not 100% sure on this part, but you might not be able to run the like star challenge 10 on stage 2 if you haven't done it on stage 1. So that bet we're going to have to find out. Now, when it comes to the quest, these will unlock on a daily basis as well. It just asks you to do certain things. You might have to clear stages in a certain amount of turns. You know, you might have to go back and complete it, you know, with a certain amount of characters, like using all fire-based characters. You don't see what the missions are on the next ones, but I think it's like 2 to 3 every day generally was unlocking. Yeah, it does say unlock 3 new challenge missions daily for the first 7 days of this event. And this just gives extra of these flame badges, which are like the rarer currency to use in the market, which we're going to look at in just a second. And then obviously it gives extra rewards on top. So it'll give, on this one example, it has gold, some meal tickets, and obviously the diamonds, but then it can give like pumpkins and stuff like that. So it's just a little bit of a bonus there. Now, taking a look at the event store, I think it's pretty much identical to the Gorilla event. It has the, you know, fluff items when it comes to like the frames of the avatar. It also has the actual avatar, you know, visuals that if you want to get that. They don't seem too expensive compared to the one where it was for Blackhorn, which was very expensive compared to the other things. I think this, again, it's like very similar to the original Gorilla event, which was very nicely priced. You can see you can get other things like Ancient Summoning Crystal, so on and so forth. And this is pretty much going to be down to your personal, like, gameplay level. So if you're brand new to the game, the 5-star pumpkins will look really good to you. Look really good because it's very hard to get those. You can get in a character to 6-star early is very, very good. The advanced summons might look good to you, but if you're someone who buys advanced summons, you might not think it is that big a deal because it's only 5. So yeah, it's basically a toss up there. There is a gear item chest here, and you do get to choose between 3 sets. It's a necklace, so this is actually pretty decent to pick up, and the sets are Raider, Avarice, and Revival. I would recommend potentially going for more Raider or Revival on this in terms of if you're a brand new player, just because the main stat, whatever you get, it probably doesn't matter what you get as a main stat. It'll be useful for someone somewhere down the line, whereas Avarice really needs particular main stats, otherwise it's just not going to be as useful in my opinion. But if you're, you know, a veteran, I guess trying to get that particular Avarice role could be very important for you, so that's the way to go. I'm personally probably going to go for Raider or Avarice. My Revival is not a problem. I farm Queen quite heavily, so I get quite a lot of Revival set stuff. Next up is the Raider ring, and I'd say as a brand new player, this ring is absolutely crazy for you. It gives 3 of the main key stats for a damage dealer, which is crit rate, crit damage, attack. It does have speed. It is a Raider set ring, so it isn't as good as it potentially could have been for just like a pure damage dealer. I kind of see you putting this on someone like Zatlux as a new player, but he doesn't need as much crit rate, so this potentially could be the only main crit rate item that you actually need. So just make sure you don't ever go over 70% crit rate on Zatlux. It's pretty straightforward. And hopefully you get lucky with the crit damage and attack percentage rolls. You know, 2 or 3 into those on when you roll them out, you should have actually a pretty decent item here. If you get all 5 like in attack and crit damage, you could have like a god tier item for the future for sure. And because it's crit rate in the main stat, this is going to have usability on a lot of different characters down the line. Initially, Zatlux, though, I think it's going to be great for you. Now, you can see for the Raider ring, the extra advanced summons here and the foodies, flame badge, and so on and so forth. You can see these ones are going to use a different type of currency. These drop on the stages when you actually run the stages, and obviously when you farm them. So you could potentially be like, oh, I should farm this early. Like I said, wait for the first 7 days, wait until the farming actually gives you the bonus drops on top, and then you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck on your energy, which is going to be much more useful. But I'd probably clean out all of the ones you can have limited amounts of claims for. The foodies, flame badges, definitely get the ring especially if you're brand new. If you're a veteran, you know what position you're in, you could see that ring and go, well, I don't really need it. But I think that's still pretty decent. And then the advanced summoning crystals, it's always good, even though they are quite expensive, I think. But you're going to be farming the jelly, the gear charms, and the gold that you actually want on the stages after 7 days anyway. So those aren't really going to be the priority. You can't get the advanced gems otherwise. So as much as it is expensive, it's the only way you can get them in this event without actually spending these flame badges. I would definitely pick up these flame badges in here. You can get 100 flame badges, which is enough to, I think, pick up one of the fluff items. As you can see, you can get the avatar frame for that, or you could pick up the Ancient Summoning Crystal, which I think is like 10% chance, a legendary character, guaranteed epic. Again, if you're brand new to the game, that is very good. Now, it might be worth you farming in the first couple of days to just get that Advanced Summoning Crystal if you're brand new, just to get yourself an epic character or potentially a legendary, because the later stages are going to be hard. I'm talking if you're like in your first week or two of gameplay, just using some of your early energy to actually get that crystal and potentially get lucky. So that's it for the little preview of this event. I think this event structure is my favorite. I've done a few event structures so far, and I definitely like this one because I think it's accessible for new players, and I think everyone in the community loves it just because you get to choose what you want to farm, and what you farm is going to give you really good rewards. So I don't think this has got any complaints that I've really seen about this event. The only thing I could potentially say is like someone doesn't like a gear piece or they don't like a gear set that's in the actual event shop, but that's always going to happen. That's just the way the game works. Now, as I said before, I'm mostly going to be farming the coins, but I'll probably do a bit of jelly and a bit of charms. Do tell me what you're going to be mainly farming. My gold is way low. I'm at like 2.5, 3 million, and that goes so quick. That goes so quick. I'm probably going to try and get up to like 10 or 20 million just to feel a bit better about myself. That still go pretty quick, I think. Upgrading gear costs quite a lot, Do tell me what you're going to get though in the comments down below. That is the end of my video, guys. I want to thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.